Great. Okay. So hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and this is Job Search Lunch and Learn. We're a job seeker support group. We're here to provide advice, networking, support, tips to help you find that next forever job. Okay. So hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker. Oops, sorry about that. We're a job seeker support group. We're here to provide advice, networking, support, tips to help you find that next forever job. Sorry about that. I can't turn off the sound on. There we go. Sorry about that. One of the hassles of technology is that it doesn't always work the way you want it to. But that does tell me that we are at least streaming on YouTube, which is a good thing in any event. When I started to say that I'm Linda Brubaker, I'm a job search coach, career coach. I've been doing this now for actually almost 8 years. And in those almost 8 years, 893 of the people that I've worked with have gotten offers as of this morning, which is great. In fact, we're going to share a couple of them this morning because they can't be here to share them themselves, which is wonderful, right? Great news. I started out my career in HR. So I've been an HR business partner. I've been a recruiter inside companies. I've been a headhunter, an executive search consultant, and I've been a hiring manager. And I have over 20 years of that experience before becoming a career coach over the last 7.5, 8 years. I do this as a labor of love. My goal is to help you all find your next forever jobs. And so as a result, I'm here to provide you with tips, resources, support, anything that I can. Please make sure to connect with me. It's an easy way to make sure that you get all of the information that we can share. Now, Sue is also here and doing this as a labor of love. By the way, I'm going to put my information in the chat as well, including the fact that one of the things that supports my ability to do this is my private coaching business. So anybody who wants to reach out for me, I'm happy to support you in that way. In fact, 2 of the people who just got offers have worked with me in the past. So I'm happy to do that. So Sue, I'm going to let you do yours while I put some stuff in the chat.
Thanks, Linda. I'm always happy to be here, even though you're not necessarily happy to have to be here. But as Linda said, we not only do this from a labor of love, from also understanding the situation you're in, where you've come, yay, you. I love to use my pom-poms to say you showed up here so that you can figure out what best practices are going to work for me. You all are drowning in information, and part of our job here is to help you get some clarity on what you take forward in your industry, in your niche, in any pivot you're making. I run a global mentoring practice. I'm on calls all around the world, which I love, and a lot in the US. And some of you from Linda's group occasionally work with me as well. So I've been able to support things. And in this group, I try to keep my eye on the chat. I hope you'll engage as much as last week. We had great engagement and took all of the pressure off me to do it. But capturing those nuggets, Mindy Stern likes to call them the golden pearls, I think she calls them, the pearls of wisdom. Thank you. Golden nuggets, right. But Linda, thank you for letting me be here, and I will find things in the chat for you when you decide to do new and success and whatever. Thanks.
I really appreciate that help and that support. And by the way, Sue's right. One of the things we want you to do is we want you to flip the script. We know that you don't want to be here. We know that job search is hard. We've all been here. I've been laid off 3 times. I've changed careers. I've changed directions several times. But one of the things I want you to do, especially if you've been laid off, is I want you to remember that you didn't lose your job. The job lost you. That job went away through no fault of your own. And to some extent, that actually gives you an advantage because it lets you think about what it is you really want to do, what you enjoy doing, the industries you want to be in order to make this work. Because you get to hire not only your next company, you get to hire your next boss. I want you to find that next forever job. So that said, if you've been here before, you know that we always start these meetings off with success. So if anybody has a success to share, and by the way, success often means you had an interview, it didn't work, you applied to a job, it didn't work. Doesn't make any difference. The idea is to, okay, share what you're doing. If you're having some activity, that helps. Excellent. Hi, Steve. You need to unmute. There you go. Nope, unmute.
There we go. It had the
Yes, we
pop-up come
can.
up. My dog wants to say hi too. Both of them. Anyway, quick, when I did finally get an offer yesterday. So
Congratulations.
I'm waiting for the official email to come in today, and so I can pitch my counter proposal, which I'm going to do. Old me used to be complacent and just say, it's a very good offer and I'll just take it as is. But I think I'm going to go ahead and push myself for at least a modest counter proposal just to experience kind of the heebie-jeebies over hitting the send button and having to go through the machinations of putting together a solid argument behind it so that at least, they always tell you don't leave money on the table. So I'm going to at least try.
You have nothing to lose by trying. In fact, in many cases, we are finding that employers are expecting that people will try and negotiate.
And that's another thing I've heard too, as well. So I don't want to come across as being too complacent or wishy-washy by not counter proposing. So it doesn't hurt.
It never hurts. And by the way, salary isn't the only thing you can negotiate. You can try and negotiate some things like added time off. You can try and negotiate working from home more days if that's something that you want. There are several different things that you can try and negotiate in addition to the salary, but always try and negotiate the salary and do it from a position of strength, not just what you know you're worth, okay, but also what you know the job is worth. So double check the job on salary.com, payscale.com, do whatever kind of research you can before you put that proposal together.
Already done all that.
Excellent.
In fact, I when I spoke to the talent acquisition rep yesterday, all the things as far as the security clearance and everything else, I basically was able to read the Riot Act about all of them because I'd already dug in and done the homework. So I was aware of what I was getting into, not just the job itself, but also everything that goes around it, because it does require a fairly solid security clearance as well as just doing the standard background check. So
just for your own information, depending upon the industry, I'm hearing that those security checks are taking longer right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So just
we spoke about that as well, because the clearance, the background check will take 4 to 6 weeks. So my start date's not going to be until sometime like mid-January at best. And I'm okay with that. Right now I'm in a place where I can stay stable for a few more months. So I'm not going to worry about it.
That's great.
It's a job worth waiting for.
That's wonderful. And I'm hearing security clearances can go up to as high as 3, depending upon the industry and the time of year.
Yeah. This one will take about a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one. All right. Sounds good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else have something to share? Okay, I'm going to share this.
I'm sorry, Linda, this is Charles. I don't know if people saw this, but Verizon is partnering with edX to give a year of free access to people. I just dropped the link in the chat.
Thank you.
You just apply, but they get back to you in a couple of days, and then you have to accept the offer for the year of access within, I think, 30 days of getting it.
Sorry, you got muted all of a sudden?
Sorry, my hands aren't even on my keyboard or mouse. So, you have, I think, up to 30 days to accept it, but we had talked about increased credibility from larger educational organizations that say LinkedIn Learning. And so I thought I would share this with people.
So what is this for from Verizon?
You could apply. It's a free upskill training or retraining to have access to edX.org for a year to be able to take courses there.
That's fantastic. So
I've
for the,
signed up. I need to go in and accept it and start looking at it. But
is this
that's
for people who are unemployed or is it for anyone?
yeah, I said I was currently unemployed, out of work. I think your options were unemployed or retired or something, and I said unemployed, and they said, "Okay, great, here you go."
Perfect. Okay. So just so you know, edX is one of those companies that provides training options. They're usually free, if not they're low cost, but it's another way of upskilling. One of them is LinkedIn Learning, which we know that we can get for free for a month, even if you have a free account. You can also often get it through your library. Okay, so check your public library to see whether or not that works. Another organization is Coursera, Coursera. They have a number of free training programs. What I like about Coursera and edX is that a number of those training programs, either free or extremely low cost, are provided by companies themselves. So you're going to get real training from Google. You're going to get their certifications. You're going to get training from companies that actually do the work in areas like AI or security. So you get real training, some of it free, some of it not, but they often run specials and the companies will keep posting that information. So keep checking back with places like Coursera. Okay, great. Okay. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So I have a couple of different updates. It seems like, on one hand, I do have a lot of updates, but nothing concluded. Having updates is a good thing, though. So I have many things scheduled this week. And last week also, I had a discussion with a hiring manager for a midline role. This week, I am scheduled for an HR interview for a midline role, another role. I had an interview with HR again for an Honeywell role. So it seems like there's a lot of discussions happening. And finally, I got a response from one of my dream companies here. This was very interesting because I've been sending a lot of applications, and finally I said I'm not going to be doing this any longer because nobody calls back. But finally someone returned, and they are contacting me this week. I just spoke with the hiring manager in the morning, so it'll be interesting to see if that moves forward. It's a very exciting, interesting role on the marketing area. So these are some of my updates. Sorry for this.
Great activity. That's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of activities, but what we want is hopefully the outcome of that as well.
I know. I'd love not to see you. Sorry. I love seeing you here, guys, but I'd love not to have to see you because you found that job. So yes, absolutely. Anyone else have an update to share? I'm just looking on the screen. I don't see anyone else offhand. Okay, so I want to share while you all are thinking about it. Remember, I said that even an interview that doesn't go anywhere, even hearing back from somebody, that's still a success. It means you've got activity that's being recognized, and that's a good thing. So those of you who've been here for several weeks or months may know some of these people. Lisa McDonald started her job this week. Okay, she's a project manager heading up the program management office of a company that she's been working with or wanting to work with. So that's great. I agree. Okay. And this is one that she's been looking at for a long time. She's been trying to get into, finally made it. So that's a good one. Deb Gates, okay, who's been around for a while, also got her job, and she starts actually today. She's working with a staffing company. Now, her version with the staffing company is different than many of the others. Most staffing companies, most agencies, it's commission-based, maybe a small salary. Hers is placing people that are doing admin work on contracts, okay, or like that fill-in kind of work. So she's really excited. It's 20 minutes from home. Company I know some of those people. She's really happy about that. And the third one, Sue, I've forgotten the name. Isn't that awful?
Louisa Dixon.
Thank you. Okay. I appreciate that. Also got a job and is starting this week. So the job market may be a little strange. We know that. We know from everything that we're seeing that, especially moving forward in the coming year, you're going to see these almost like a river flow, right? You're going to get or current. You're going to see surges and then you're going to see things back off. The predictions are that in the coming year, you're going to see certain jobs begin to hire again, but you're also going to see more layoffs, unfortunately, as companies decide how they need to react in the coming year. I can't tell you it's going to be easy. I can tell you that we're all here to support you and to give you whatever we can, whatever tips, tricks, goals, okay, support we can to help you move forward. All right. Anyone else have something to share? Oh, by the way, one more success, and I'm sorry, chemo brain. I've forgotten his name. Somebody who got turned down from an interview sent a follow-up thank you saying, thank you for the interview time. I really enjoyed it. Here's what I learned. Here's why I want to be part of this organization. Is it okay if I keep in touch? They came back and said, absolutely, we'd like to be able to consider you for future opportunities. And within 6 weeks, they called him for another opportunity, and he's currently in the interview process for that. So you honestly don't know where those go. If you get turned down from an interview, always, always, always send that thank you. Okay? Tell them you want to keep in touch and then do. All right. If there are no more successes to share, let's talk about your questions. So if you've got a question, please not only raise your hand, but in the chat, and Sue, help me, please. Okay, type the word question all in caps so that we make sure that we can find you. But if you've got a question, please raise your digital hand so that we can call on you and see whether we can't get your, okay. All right, David. Let's see if I can find you. What's your question, David? Oh, you have to turn off, unmute. Unmute, David. David, we can't hear you. There we
Last
go.
week, I got a phone interview for a data reconciliation specialist of Ohio Gastroenterology Group. I already sent a thank you note the day of the interview. How long should I wait after the interview takes place to send like an additional follow-up message?
Great question. So there are several things there. Number one, first, thank you, congratulations on the interview. And yes, always send that thank you note within 24 hours, 48 at the most after an interview. Send it directly to the people that you've actually spoken with, if you can. Now, in terms of a follow-up, this time of year, it's going to take longer. People are in and out trying to get their things done and trying to take up all of their extra vacation if they have it. Trying to get everybody together this time of year for that interview process is longer. If you send out a thank you, when was that thank you sent? When was your interview?
Wednesday of last week. So Wednesday, let's see, the
That's okay.
27th of November.
That's fine. So Wednesday of last week, just before Thanksgiving, congratulations. Okay. And then I would say normally we wait for a week to 10 days to do that extra follow-up, especially this time of year. When you do your follow-up, it is not, I haven't heard from you, what's going on? It's always why you're still interested. It's very short. Okay. One or two things from the interview itself, okay, that make you a good fit. And the last line always is, I'm excited by the position and by the conversations. I am looking forward to our next conversation. The best way to reach me is. It's not why haven't you called? It's not what's your time frame, because honestly, they can't give you one. They can try, but they can't stick to it. So it's always, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. The best way to reach me is, which is also the way that you end your cover letter and the way you end your thank you note. Okay.
Okay, excited. Looking forward to speaking with you again. Best way to reach me. That sounds
Uh-huh.
good.
Okay. The other thing is, if you have not already done so, send connection requests or messages to the people that you met on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Again, that same thing, looking forward to our next conversation.
All right.
All right, keep us posted.
Okay.
I know that there are a couple of people in the chat. I will get to you, I promise. Okay. Chad.
Yeah, so one of the things I've been seeing in the last like week to 10 days on LinkedIn are posts, people are taking notice of a seeming increase in opportunities for talent acquisition individuals. And the implication that this means that companies are looking to ramp up hiring for other people themselves. I'm wondering whether or not you feel that's true, whether there's like sort of a direct correlation there, and what sort of the timeline might be from sort of these talent acquisition jobs being posted to broader hiring pushes by companies.
I wish I could give you a great answer. I can't. Okay. Yes, I am starting to see more talent acquisition jobs open. I'm starting to see more jobs open, although if you remember, Mark Anthony Dyson, he talked about some of the scam jobs, and unfortunately, we are seeing more of those as well right now. Jobs that are being posted either as backfill. Okay, we want to make sure that we have people in the pipeline, or as a way of telling current employees that there are going to be people around who are going to be able to support them, whether that's true or not. The other thing that I'm seeing, unfortunately, is a trend to outsource more of that talent acquisition roles, or those talent acquisition roles. Within the last 3 weeks, I've heard of 3 of those roles that are being outsourced overseas. Okay, so I think it's a good thing. I'm starting to see that. And yes, I'm going to be optimistic. I feel like being optimistic today, right? Those jobs are going to be coming down the pike, not only in talent acquisition, but in other areas as well. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't be more definitive. Anybody else wants to chime in, by the way, please. Okay, hi, Joanne. What's your question?
Hi, everybody. I am just starting on sending out applications. Haven't even got interviews, but I mean, I really liked what you were saying about how to, after you write the thank you note, and how to follow up. My question is, with the thank you notes, should we still be sending a handwritten note, or no? Emails are okay?
Absolutely. Email is immediate. Email, you know that it's going to get there within 24 to 48 hours. While a handwritten note is not a bad thing, okay, maybe as a follow-up, but it's not immediate anymore. Okay. And not only that, we don't know where people sit. We don't know whether they're in the home office, whether they're in the company's office. We don't know whether they're working from home or anything else. So the idea of having that immediate email thank you, not only acceptable, but expected.
Okay. And just another quick question. I applied for a job last week, and I have some mutual connections with this organization, so I reached out.
Good.
One of them said, absolutely, I'm happy to refer you. The other one said, oh, who am I connected to? I'm not sure if I know anybody at that location. So it's been about a week and a half. We had the holiday in there. Like, what's the best way to follow up with them? To kind of make sure they're on, but I'm hoping they'll do.
Okay. Ask them if I would follow up, not have you sent my stuff in? Okay. Not what have you heard, but more the way that I would do actual networking. Okay. in the sense of, okay, I'm really excited and not asking you to do anything right now. I really just want to know more. Have you heard anything about this position? What can you tell me about the hiring manager? Can you tell me anything about the department? More importantly, do you like what you're doing? What do you think about the company? What's the reason that you stay? So it's more about them, as
Okay.
it should be with any networking, than anything else. If you keep asking them, have you sent my stuff in? Have you sent my stuff in? That's not a good.
Yeah, no, that I know. I just didn't know the best way to just sort of make sure they're still got it on their radar. Without
Yep.
sounding
So-
like I'm
Right.
hounding
So the best way to do the seeing, making sure that you're staying on the radar is to ask about them, ask about what they like. What projects are they working on?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank-
Is it really hectic after Thanksgiving and before the end of the year?
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. I know we have a couple of new people too, so we're going to get you all in here first, but let's get a couple of these questions answered. Steve, you actually sent me a couple of questions by email. Okay. So go ahead and ask your questions. And by the way, since you're here, you're new too, aren't you?
I am new to the group,
So
yes.
we're going to kill two birds with one stone. So
Okay.
introduce yourself, excuse me, and what it is you're looking for, and then ask your questions.
Okay. Steve Weaver, I shared in the chat that I'm living in the Chicagoland area, looking for, actually my entire career to this point has been in higher education. And so I'm still looking for a role in that area if possible, but also for the first time in my career, opening myself up to not-for-profit type opportunities or sort of education adjacent kinds of things, even higher education consulting or that kind of thing. And so about a month into my job search at this point, and had been at my previous institution for about 6 years. And so I guess that's who I am. Linda, did I cover everything before my question, or do you
No,
want?
that was perfect.
Okay, great. So my question, and it was one of the ones that I sent you just before the meeting. Sorry for the late
That's
questions
okay.
coming in. Is because I'm relatively new to the search, and it's the first search I've done kind of in the world of AI. One of my questions is about what you would advise around the use of AI to assist or support when generating cover letters or those kinds of things, especially as I'm looking at positions that might be a pivot from my typical, cover letters in higher education. What's your advice about the use of AI and or are employers using some kind of screening system also to kind of look for candidates who are utilizing AI pretty significantly?
So great questions, actually. AI is something that we know is going to continue to grow. And for a lot of us, it's something that we not only have to learn, okay, or should learn, but it's something that's a little scary, okay, to try and figure out all of this. The best thing that you should know about AI is that AI can be your starting point. It is not your ending point. AI can give you some ideas, but it absolutely cannot write, should not write for you. You asked me whether or not people can tell whether or not something has been written by AI. And the answer is, unfortunately, for many job seekers, yes. We can tell by the language. We can tell by the fact that a number of the applications, the cover letters that are coming in are all the same. Okay. They're not only using the same language, they're using the same formatting, they're using the same points, trying to make the same points. And yes, there are some companies now that are instituting, just as colleges are instituting, okay, those AI checkers for the content that you're sending us. So if you want to use AI, it's a great starting point. In fact, sometime early next year, I hope, we're going to have somebody come in and talk to us about AI. Just haven't finalized a date yet. But the idea is this needs to be you. I'm not hiring that AI bot. I'm hiring you. And we hire people that we know, like, and trust. So yes, I know that writing your applications, changing them is tough. I know that writing those cover letters is tough. But the idea is that I want to know you because you're the one that I'm hiring. You're the one I'm bringing in to talk about. Okay. So starting point, maybe, but only a starting point.
Yeah. That's wise. I had someone else say, making sure it's your voice. You may start there with some helpful entry points, but then make sure it's your voice,
Right.
your
And be careful
language.
because there are some AIs bots right now that are saying that you can ask them, change this to my voice and give here a couple of different ideas. We can still tell.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. You had another question that you said.
Sure. Yep. Really quickly then, I don't want to take up too much time for the
Okay.
group. I've had differing opinions on in LinkedIn having the profile, the open to work kind of I don't know, hashtag on your profile picture. I've had people suggest that as a way of getting out there, and just got advice recently from someone else saying something about that looks sort of like a desperation kind of thing. And so I'm curious what your thoughts are about utilizing that option within LinkedIn.
Okay. I'm green banner all the way. Okay. I think that it is not desperate looking. What you're saying is, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for your support and help. Now, what I would do is that don't use the standard message that comes with that from LinkedIn. Customize it yourself. Talk about what it is you really want to do, and you don't have to use their language at all. What you really want to do is tell people what you're looking for. Tell them a little bit about that superpower, for lack of a better phrase. Okay. Especially if you're looking to make that kind of career pivot. But putting that LinkedIn banner, we know, helps you get found. We know that you will get additional reach outs. You'll get additional views of your profiles and your content if you've got that green banner up. As a former recruiter, and from all the recruiters that I've spoken to and all the research, the green banner tells people that you are likely to be able to take my call, that you're open and available for work. In fact, it's so important that on LinkedIn Recruiter, which granted fewer than 1/3 of all recruiters on LinkedIn actually use because it's expensive, but there's actually a filter there for people who have that open to work banner. Okay. So absolutely use it. Not just is it that sending it out there to the universe, but people that you want to connect with, people you want to network with, people that you want to come out to, that you want to talk with, are all going to be there. Now, one of the things you may want to do is on once a month, okay, take it off on Saturday morning, put it back on Sunday. Okay. The idea is that if we redo something on our profile, it helps to bring it up to the top of the LinkedIn algorithms. Don't know why, it just does.
That's really helpful. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Appreciate it.
Okay. I noticed that there are several people in the chat who are either new or who have questions. I don't want to miss anybody.
Well, Tracy's new and she also now has a question. So maybe like you did with Steve, be a good way to do both.
Absolutely. Tracy, can you raise your digital hand so I can find you? Or Sue, if you can find her, you can spotlight her. Tracy, can you raise your hand or wave it? If you don't want to put your camera on, that's okay, but we'd really, oh, I think I found you.
Yep, here I am, up in the left corner.
All right. So what we'd like you to do is just as Steve did, introduce yourself, a little bit about who you are, what kinds of things you're looking for, where you're located, and then ask us your question.
Sure. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for doing this. I am in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. And I thoroughly enjoy operations. I can look at something, break it down into small pieces, build it back up. I can create things, love to do that. I also have experience in project management and human resources. I have a very varied background. I have been, my question is more regarding LinkedIn, because I've been hesitant to put everything on my resume because of age. I'm now, well, actually I'm 55 today, but
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But I took care of a family member, my grandmother, for a number of years. I stayed with her. So I had a professional detour, so to speak. So I'm having difficulty getting back into it because I think they look at my resume, they see that experience with taking care of my elderly family member, even though I've changed it completely. So it looks more like a project type thing, because that's really what it was. And so I'm looking for, I'm looking for operations. I think that is my best bet because I know HR has changed a lot, and I am trying to take courses and things that are free and so forth. But my LinkedIn profile, I feel I can do more. Like how do I optimize what people see right underneath my picture, as well as the about section? I've changed it a couple of times. And that's what I think I need more help with, please.
Absolutely. So you're absolutely right. When you've taken time off or when you're making that career pivot, your LinkedIn profile becomes very important. And I understand the whole ageism thing. How many years were you off, Tracy?
About 12 to 14.
Okay. So what I'd like to see you do on LinkedIn is if you can add as current, okay? I know LinkedIn has the drop down saying that you took a career break. Don't use it.
No, I didn't.
Okay. What we want to do is we want to have something current there. So you can talk about the work that you did as that project basis.
Well, I will say that I took a position just for 2 years at a local company, but I am no longer there.
So I'm sorry, that's okay. I would use that one then. Make sure that that's on there.
It is, yes.
Okay. I don't want to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Trace, sorry, I'm on a different screen right now. I want to see if I can bring up your profile real quick.
I put her link in the chat for anybody that wants to look at
Perfect.
her profile.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for.
And again, I don't have everything I've done on there because I don't want to put dates.
Remember, LinkedIn is just another way of, it's a guideline. It's not everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay if we share your profile real quick?
Sure, go right ahead. It's a learning for everyone. I don't mind.
Okay. And by the way, January 15th, we have a LinkedIn expert coming in. Brenda Meller. If you haven't followed her on LinkedIn, do. She's great. And her whole goal is to help you in terms of LinkedIn, think about what's best in terms of not only your profile, but your engagement strategy. And we can talk about that. And that's one of the things that I work with clients about too. But if you've got LinkedIn questions, she's a great one. So a couple of things for all of you. Okay. And by the way, when we talk about your year-end to-do list next week, here are some things for everybody. You need a banner. And a banner needs to work with what you're doing. The thing that I see when I come to your profile is what's called your headline. These first 40 to 50 characters, that's what pulls up. So you want to make sure that those are really impactful. Not only what you do, but what it is you're looking for. What I like about yours, Tracy, is that it talks about the titles that you're looking for, okay? And that's really important. You can go a little further than that. Okay. Open to work. Okay. Whatever you're using in those titles, though, as well as in your open to work, needs to be part of the LinkedIn dropdown, not just your own terms. That's the only way people find it. Your about section is incredibly important because in your about section, and yours is really short, the resume, the experience section, that's all the cut and dry. Here's what I can do. The about section truly is you. It's written in first person. Your first 3 lines are your grabber. This is your chance to tell us your story, how you got into this, what you're looking for. If you wanted to, Tracy, you could talk about how privileged you were to be able to take the time to take care of a family member, and now you're hear the things that you learned from that and you're excited to come back into the workforce. Okay. Team member perishable goods. Okay. So you had a current job, a relatively current one. I would take the pet care services out probably. That's just me. But I would also put in some additional bullet points. What did you learn as part of that? What volunteer work might you have done? If you recently left that job, okay, you can leave that as current at least for another couple of months as a way of putting that in there, or you can put in some volunteer activities. But you want to be able to, in all of these, to be able to put in a couple of bullet points that demonstrate why I should talk with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are, I have bullet points in every single one.
I agree, but make sure that what you're doing is, especially if I'm looking here, okay, you want to basically look for those things that are transferable.
Okay.
Okay, that's what people are looking for. This is not, neither your resume nor your LinkedIn profile is a listing of tasks. It's a listing of what you've done that might intrigue somebody else. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, for those of you who are looking at LinkedIn profiles and you notice that there's a more, there is no, there's a follow button as the initial, go into more, and there's the connect button. If you've got a paid account, you can go ahead and send that with a message. Otherwise, for those of us who don't, you've got 5 messages, go ahead and send it without, especially if you're part of this group, we can always check to see that you're there.
Linda, may I please
Absolutely.
add something for Tracy? Tracy, I went back to your headline and I love that you really love operations and you like creating and streamlining them. But I know you've done that. Linda's talking about transferable skills. All of the elder care work you did, especially at the beginning about protecting the financial interest, you could rephrase that and reframe that to provided operations and financial support, including reviewing Medicare, blah, blah, blah. So there you've got the direct service you're providing. And then maybe your headline is less about creating and streamlining processes, but putting effective processes into place, or something that implies more of you having, I talk with my hands a lot, having done it. I'm trying to signal you've actually done it. So tell people what you've done. And you might even say, done it in situations from elder care to, Fortune 500 company or whatever kind of thing it is. And I think that would just give it more. I work a lot on evidence-based results. There's your evidence-based result. And Linda's talking for all of us about transferable skills. Tell the story that includes the transferable skills so they recognize, oh, she could do it for me.
Right. And I would do it in your about section is a great way of doing it. In your experience, don't start with, or even in the about section, don't start with the elder care. It's from Fortune 500 to elder care. Okay. The idea is, what is somebody going to be most interested in seeing in that? And that's what you're really looking for. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Quick question though. May we go back to what you said? Because you were talking about bullet points, and I had said that I felt that I had them there, and I know you said not to tell what I did, but list what was transferable. So, for example, I have the pet care there because I built up a huge amount of business, and I was the lead contractor. That is good because there are certain because I was a financial advisor for 5 years as well, and so it was my own type of business.
So I would list that because I can't tell that.
Well, it's independent contractor 1099, or should I not assume?
People can't read what's in your head. When I see, especially when you're talking about healthcare advocate, okay, and and your first bullet is providing in-home health care, what I want to see is that you advocated for, okay, the Medicare needs, advocated with the doctor. You were the liaison between people. I want something transferable. Okay, but individual in-home health care is not necessarily transferable to the kinds of jobs you're looking for.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's what I meant by the difference between listing skills. And I know that that was probably the thing that took up most of your time. If you wanted to with your pet care, you could actually list that separately as a separate job. Because that brings more focus to the fact that you developed a business, you put together the business plan, you hired employees, right? All the skills that you needed, and I would put them in those operational terms, but all of those things are transferable, but you're making me work too hard. And to be honest with you, people reading your profiles are lazy. Same way people reading your resumes are lazy. Okay? Especially in this job market, we have so many resumes to look at. And okay, when you were talking about the idea of AI generated resumes, we also see a lot of more people doing what we call a spray and pray, sending the same resume out to everything. I just want everything out there. So the easier you make it for me, both in terms of your resume and how you match my job, as well as your LinkedIn profile, what it is you can do for somebody else, the more likely I am to follow up.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Okay, who's next with a question or an introduction?
Annika Perilla, I didn't get the last part of her name, but Annika Perilla has a question.
Let me see if I can find you. Annika, can you raise your digital hand? And forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Annika, are you still here? I can't find you offhand.
Looks like she's had to get off. She
Okay.
wasn't, she's
So
not.
hopefully she will introduce herself next time.
Yeah.
Who's got another question or an introduction? I saw several more in here and I'm sorry, I missed it. Betsy.
Hello. Hi, I'm
Hello.
new. I have been taking I'm currently on a career break, and after a long, 12 plus years in commercial roles in the chemical industry, I've got 2 young kids, and back in the first, second quarter, really realized the company I was working for, I didn't see a future with the summer break, wanted to just kind of hit pause and enjoy the summer off with the kids and kind of regroup after being really a workaholic for the first, I guess, major book of my career journey. I'm about to turn 40, so still, kind of mid-early, or have a lot of work left before I can retire. And I know a lot of jobs are going to open up. I want to be very selective about my next job because I do feel the last company I jumped a little too quickly into. And after spending, I was with one company for 12 years and then a bit of a culture shock going to this other company that I stayed at for 18 months. And, after the holidays and in the new year, I'm going to put a little more energy into really my job search. I've been enjoying the time off right now. But I'm curious, I heard you say don't put a career break on your LinkedIn, and I wanted to kind of hear maybe your perspective on why not to do that, and especially if you're actively in one. And, I left my job voluntarily and on good terms, and both times that I left in the last 2 years, and just kind of would like to hear what's your perspective there.
So it's not my perspective, unfortunately, it's LinkedIn's. If you list career break, LinkedIn won't find you.
They won't find you. Okay.
No, that's one of the problems, is that even though LinkedIn has this history recently, within the last year or two, of putting all these things out there as ways of saying, gee, this is really great. We want to give you these options, but by the same token, if we search for people, unless you have some sort of a current position, you go to the bottom of the heap. So even though they put that career break in there, unless if you've got that as your current, you fall out of the mix. So
Okay.
you can talk about your career break in your about section. That's fine. You can talk about your career break in your cover letter. Okay. And your interview. You're so excited about moving back. But the same way that we just talked to Tracy about adding something on her resume as something current. Okay. You were a stay-at-home mom. Stay-at-home moms do so much. That means you've got your skills there. You've got budgeting. You've got organizational skills. You probably did some volunteering as part of that. Okay. You can talk about all of those and we can help you brainstorm what to call it. But you want that current activity. Now, you and I both know, and anybody reading it is going to know you took a career break. That's not the point. The point is to be able to help you be found.
So it's more the algorithm. You need to show that you have something current, because I did on my LinkedIn put, the end date of my last employment, so people knew that I wasn't still working there. But okay, so I'll have to get creative and then think about, because there's a lot of project management skills happening here at the home front, right?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of things that you can add even from volunteer work. Okay.
Right.
All that, depending upon what it is you want to do, think about what skills might be transferable to somebody else. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to add those. And especially for a lot of people who are now going to be using the first of the year as, gee, maybe I'll come back to work after those breaks. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely something we want to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll brainstorm around that. Thank you.
And one of the things that I would do, by the way, is use our LinkedIn private group. Hey guys, I just made some changes, or I'm thinking about changing it to this. What do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
That's great.
It's a great way of getting some feedback.
Thank you. Happy holidays too.
Good luck. Okay. Anik, and I apologize if I have your name wrong, got disconnected and just came back. Can you wave your digital hand, or can you help me find you, Sue?
Yes. Can you hear me, Linda?
I can hear you. Is your camera on, Anik?
Yes, it is, but I cannot see myself, so I guess my camera is not working.
I found you.
So,
Thank you.
my question is more related around, first, I'm local to Boston at the moment, but I'm in the northeast corridor, navigating between New Jersey, Boston, and New York. So, and this is not related to me specifically. This is more of in terms of strategy, is LinkedIn the only place where you can get a job? Because it feels to me that over the years, LinkedIn has gotten away from helping people finding a job, but more people talking about anything, everything, being content and content drivers and influencers, and not automatically here to help a fellow co-worker or ex-colleague or colleagues in general. And I'm going to say even that for the recruiters, because I follow a lot of recruiters and I feel I'm a lot of rehashing the same thing over and over. So is LinkedIn the only way? What about Indeed? What about FlexJobs? What about all the other forms that we have that are existing? What do you think?
I think it's actually a great question. LinkedIn is, what kind of a job are you looking for?
I'm constantly looking because I'm a gig worker and I'm a knowledge worker. I've worked, in strategy, assessment, project management, PMO, and portfolio management, and change management transformation. So
Okay.
this is
So
this
for
is
those
the bulk
areas,
of, yep,
okay,
3
for
areas.
those
Yep.
areas, LinkedIn is actually one of your best sources. I know nobody's going to find you a job. Unfortunately, nobody's going to find you a job. The idea of having recruiters, when I first started, okay, was that you could go to them and say, here's what I'm looking for, and they would find something for you. They don't do that anymore. Your job is to make sure that you are as attractive in terms of what it is you're looking for, that you're giving people a reason to want to contact you. But LinkedIn, regardless of anything else, is still your best way. It's a great way of making those connections, of finding resources, of finding people within those companies, as well as finding job opportunities. Indeed is a good source as well, depending upon the kind of job and depending upon what you're looking for. Flex jobs may work, okay, but flex jobs you have to pay for. There's also sources like the Mom Project, which might be able to help. Dice, depending upon the area that you're in, might work. If there are specific job boards for your industry, that's good. But always make sure that you're connected. One specific point to remember is that regardless of where you're looking, always apply directly on the company site. Applying on
Oh, that's a good point. Yep.
okay. Doing that specifically makes sure that your information gets to the company faster. We know that. If nothing else, as a recruiter, I will tell you that I get an email, or used to get an email, telling me that X number of people had applied and to take a look. So that was an important thing. We've discovered, unfortunately, that there is this lag between applying on sources like Indeed or LinkedIn, even if you're using Quick Apply. And when it gets to the company site, it could be as much as a week. You don't want that. Okay, you want that direct messaging, that direct connection. So that's important. Another thing is, please don't use Quick Apply. LinkedIn is pushing that. Quick Apply really just says, I'm interested, and sends over a copy of your profile. It may send information, but the information, the application, the resume itself does not get into the system as quickly as you thought it would. Does that help, Anik? And I apologize. Would you please pronounce your name for me?
Anik was correct.
Okay, thank you. I always want to.
You do not even want to try, the last name.
No,
and I'm facetious about saying this, is on LinkedIn, I used to shorten my last name to only the first half. And because of this, the fact that identity management, I had to restore my full last name in order to be recognized. But I really don't like it because it's very difficult to pronounce. So this is, Anik is absolutely fine. Perrier is like a Perrier like the drink, the beverage with a ya at the end, Perrier.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda.
I feel your pain.
Oh my goodness.
It's not that difficult, but people look at it and they just freak.
Yeah, exactly. Even Anik, I don't understand it. It's not complicated. Doesn't seem to be. It's Celtic. It's Celtic or Celtic. Whichever.
All right. Thank you all. We've reached the top of the hour. I'm happy to stay on just a little longer if anybody has any additional questions, or if there's somebody else who wants to introduce themselves. Did we get most of the questions in the chat, Sue? Good.
All right, we got all of them as far as I can tell. And I'm just going to say thank you, everyone, for those who engaged in the chat. There was a lot of help and other information being exchanged. Linda, it's been nice to see how the chat's been so active by everybody in the last couple
Absolutely. So
Can I ask
yes, go
a
ahead.
quick clarification, plees?
Please.
Okay, so you had mentioned to me, this is Tracy, you had mentioned to me earlier about how what is underneath my name should match the open to work listing. So my question for that is, okay, Two, actually. The first is that it's been a while since I've been in human resources, although the benefits I'm still rather strong in. So I'm willing to take something less than human resources manager, as well as project management, even though I feel like I do project management all the time. So does that matter? I mean, I'm trying not to limit myself. I'm willing to take an entry level position.
So one of the things about LinkedIn in terms of that open to work is that it will only find you for the jobs if they are in the drop-down banner. So if you're willing to take something less, it's okay to use that. You can also say that in your about section or when you're applying for jobs. That's okay too. The headline is something different. The headline is what I'm going to see regardless of anything else. So those first couple of words, those first 40 to 50 characters, and maybe a little more than that now. That's what I see when I pull up your profile, when you show up in a search.
Mm-hmm.
I pull up your name. So check to see what shows up. You want to make sure that that gives me a reason to read more.
Right.
The same with the first couple of lines of your LinkedIn About section.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. And we'll talk a lot more about LinkedIn, both when Brenda Meller comes here next week or January 15th, as well as in a variety of other areas. LinkedIn is something that we talk about a lot. Okay. Anybody else? Then thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you all got something from this. I want to remind you, I'm going to turn off the recording. So I want to remind you to join our private group. The link is in the chat. I will copy the chat and put it into the private group when we're done. Now, sometimes vagaries of LinkedIn, sometimes the links remain active, sometimes they don't. Sorry about that. We'll see what happens. But it will be there until, hopefully this afternoon. Yes, there are a lot of scammers in there and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so you added the green banner and got 4 messages in 4 minutes from scammers. Absolutely, that's going to happen. Unfortunately, you have to be diligent about trying to drain those out. Unfortunately, that's part of the LinkedIn AI system that's back there, as well as some of the bots that are going on. It's not something we like. It's something we're trying to work around and trying to get LinkedIn to change. It is one of the problems with putting that banner up, at least in the beginning. But I will tell you that it really works, that you will have a lot more notice, that you will get a lot more outreach, and you will get a lot more people willing to network with you, as well as recruiters taking a look at what's going on. So I would definitely keep it up. I think it's worth doing. You just have to be willing to put up with the messages. And by the way, when you get those messages, it's okay to block them. It's okay to delete them. It's okay to report them. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Next week, we're going to be talking about what you need to do in terms of a year-end job search prep, what you can do to get yourself set up for the coming year and what's going on, because we know that Christmas break, people are going, we're all going to try and take it a little easier too. But you will find that it's a good time for you to put some things in place for the coming year, some things that you can do to make sure that you're well set up. Yes, okay, I am saying, Mary, that you should put the Open to Work banner on. You have to be willing to put up with some things, but the LinkedIn algorithms will find you more if that Open to Work banner is there, as well as the fact that recruiters, hiring managers, even networking partners, people that you want to talk with, if you're reaching out to make comments to, will find you and be more willing to talk with you if you have that Open to Work banner up. I don't have any statistics off the top of my head. Sorry about that. But I know that that works. I've seen it work. And even the LinkedIn statistics tell us that it works. So recruiters tell us that it works. So put it up. You want to take it down. over a weekend and then put it back up again. Just remember that every time you put it up, you're going to get some of those scammers, those people who are trying to, what's called a pitch slap. Okay. As soon as you put it up, people are going to say, oh, I can help, I can help, I can help, right? I don't do that. But yes, you're going to get some of those as well. Anything else before I let you go for the day? Yes, I will put back up the link to the private group. As well as my own information. I'm willing to have a conversation with everybody. Okay, 20 minutes after I get back. If we haven't talked yet and you want to have a quick conversation, I am willing to do that. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Maybe it's not doing it. Oh, sorry. There we go. Let's try again. So here's the link to the private group. Nope, not doing it. It is there someplace in the chat. I apologize. I put it in just a little while ago. For some reason, I'm having some computer issues. If somebody else can find it and put it in, that would be great. There we go. Okay. I'm also going to add the connection information. If you have not connected to me yet, please do connect with each other as well. Anything else I can share with you right now?
Yeah, I think you've done an excellent job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Have a-
thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime, as I said. Okay. I'm really interested and excited to be able to help you to provide people with the information. Don't settle for anything. Look for that next forever job and find what works best for you. Okay, right, Michael?
Absolutely. If you're talking to me,
I am.
absolutely. Make sure you ask the right questions when you're looking for that role, so that you know what the
Absolutely.
expectations are on both ends. Because you have to be happy with them as much as they're happy with you.
You're
It goes
hiring
both
them
ways.
as much as they're hiring you.
There you go.
Absolutely. Okay. What I'm going to do next week, by the way, just so that y'all are prepared, and I'm going to do it in our private group as well. So that as I'm planning for next year, I need you all to tell me what kinds of topics, what kinds of speakers you want. And if you have a specific person you'd like to join us, I'd like to hear that as well. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to leave this open for a couple of minutes so that anybody wants to copy the chat themselves, they can. By the way, to copy the chat, go up to the very top of the chat. See the three dots where it says Job Search Lunch and Learn, three dots to the right. If you go over there, you can click on that and it says Save Chat. And then you can tell it where to go once that's done. As I said, I will put it in the private group. But if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, just go into the chat, highlight it all, copy it, and put it in a document of some sort, and then you can save it yourself. So I'm going to leave this open for just a minute or two. I'll leave it open for 5 minutes so that you can do that, but I'm going to put myself off screen. And I will see you all next week. By the way, remember to let other job seekers know we're trying to make this as available to people as we possibly can. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Have a
Take
great
care.
week. Take care, everybody.
Great weekend.
Bye.
Stay warm. Bye now.
All right.